Elon Musk has expressed his opinions on LiDAR in the past, and let's say that he's not an advocate of this technology, at least not when talking about solving the self-driving problem. He repeatedly stated that vision is the way to go, as it has many advantages over other approaches. And on the last few months, Tesla seems to have gone all in on vision, as they've decided to start delivering the Model 3 and Model Y without the front-facing radar, which until now has been a big part of Tesla's self-driving solution. So what happened? Not so long ago we were talking about a possible new radar coming to Tesla vehicles, and now they are getting rid of it completely. It looks like the company will be focusing on continuing the development of autopilot, relying just on vision. That's what they call the pure vision approach. Let's explain this decision. And keep watching, as at the end I'll talk about how Tesla is planning on making pure vision autopilot even safer compared to the version that uses a radar. You're watching On Forward. Many customers felt insecure about Tesla removing the radar from its cars, and I can understand that. At first, it is easy to think that adding more sensors to the car is better and contributes in every situation, but that's not the case at all, and I'll explain why in a moment. Also, at first, it seemed that the cars that didn't have a radar would be shipping with some of the safety features disabled, like forward collision warning and automatic emergency braking, and it is totally understandable that customers didn't like that. But that was not the case. While the cars did roll out with features like Smart Summon and emergency lane departure avoidance disabled, all of the other important safety features were always active, and those two were already restored in an over-the-air software update. In fact, the IIHS granted the radarless Tesla Model 3 the top Safety Peak Plus rating again, demonstrating that these features work just fine using only vision. The Model Y has not been retested yet, but we expect the same outcome. With the worries about lacking safety features out of the way, the question remains: how is it possible that an autonomous car with less sensors performs better? Let me explain. We see other companies and automakers coming up with cars equipped with an insane amount of sensors. One example is Lucid Motors. They claim that their cars will be equipped with 32 sensors in total, including multiple cameras, radars, ultrasonic sensors, and LiDAR, which uses a laser light to generate a highly accurate 3D map of the environment. Another widely known competitor that's taking a similar approach is Waymo, which includes even more sensors that make their cars end up looking like this. Just kidding. The looks won't matter if the technology works, but according to Tesla's director of AI, their approach has two fundamental flaws: the cost and the scalability. Obviously, adding these many sensors increases the cost quite a bit, especially the expensive LiDAR. But what may be a little bit less obvious is that most of these approaches also use HD maps of the roads, and then match their sensors readings to them. These maps have to be maintained regularly, as the environment changes from time to time. This makes this approach much less scalable and very expensive to maintain compared to Tesla's technology. In Tesla's case, the vision system was getting so good that the radar started to pull back on the rest of the autopilot system by reading random incorrect measurements from time to time and conflicting with vision, which makes real-time decision-making much more difficult for the car. In addition, a group of owners who have received the pure vision version of the Model Y tested its autopilot capabilities. They said that not only the car drives more confidently, but the overall performance of autopilot was considerably and noticeably more precise and less timid than it was previously. This is a very good sign, considering that the pure vision version of autopilot has just been deployed, and it is expected to become even better over time. The improvement makes a lot of sense to me. If the car isn't receiving false readings from the radar, it can behave more confidently, as there aren't two sensors giving conflicting information. But there are still some doubts about how the car would behave in scenarios where radar was undoubtedly useful. For example, in low visibility conditions or when there are several cars ahead. The radar was capable of seeing up to 2 cars ahead by bouncing the signal below, which isn't possible with cameras. The reality is that cameras are able to see much better than we think in low visibility conditions, like rain or fog. I go into more detail on this topic in this other video, and you can watch it if you're interested. This, combined with the fact that neural networks can be specifically trained to see more reliably on these scenarios, makes for a very solid perception of the surroundings, even when the visibility isn't the best. The question about seeing 2 cars ahead is a little bit trickier, but hear me out. If people can regularly drive without being able to see 2 cars ahead, then autonomous vehicles can do it too. And if the visibility is low, the car should slow down just like a human driver would. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't feel comfortable going full speed in heavy rain or fog just because the car has a radar. And it is also dangerous to other drivers. I think that the car should decide to go slower and be more cautious in these cases. Remember that all streets, signs and other road elements were designed with human drivers in mind. So a computer with 360 degrees vision, faster response times, no distractions, fatigue or anger will surely do a much better job than us. But it seems that Tesla isn't interested in giving superpowers to the cars, like the ability of seeing hundreds of meters ahead in heavy fog or seeing 2 cars ahead of itself. And I get it. The idea is for the car to behave just like a really good human driver would, but with all the advantages mentioned earlier. Tesla's autopilot also has complex neural networks trained with billions of miles of driving experience, so overall I am sure that this will make car rides safer for everyone. And talking about being safer, let's discuss how Tesla is planning to make pure vision autopilot even safer compared to the version that uses a radar. But before we do, please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you like this content. Remember what I said about the occasional false readings from the radar? Well, these are responsible for what in the Tesla community is known as phantom braking. In some specific scenarios, like when going in underpasses, the radar would get confused and give a false reading of an obstacle in front, while the vision system is not detecting anything. The car, without knowing what to do, would apply the brakes, resulting in an abrupt deceleration, which could be very dangerous if there are vehicles behind. So, solving this problem was crucial to continue improving the safety standards of autonomous vehicles. Tesla's director of AI recently said that vision is even better than radar for automatic emergency braking, managing to detect obstacles from further away and more reliably. Finally, Tesla recently revealed its new supercomputer, which is being used to train these complex neural networks with data received from Tesla's driving all over the world. This is proof that Tesla continues to invest in pushing the capabilities and safety standards of autopilot. There is no doubt that this technology will only get better over time. To the company, it has become clear that throwing more sensors to the mix is not the answer. In fact, it makes things worse. Tesla seems confident that they can solve self-driving using only vision, and they are in a unique position to do so. Their talented engineering teams and their vertical integration are a recipe for success. But we will only know how big of an improvement this is when we start to see safety data from Tesla. Until then, you can continue watching my videos, and if you like them, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching all the way through. See you soon.